Out of Blumer District 2, I just said as I walked up, I'm going to bring my computer tonight, but I didn't prepare what I was going to say. And she's smiling back there. I just want to double check my understanding. There's no judgment to this question. The budget adjustments that you just made, that you just suggested, would result in a $3.2 million gap between what the school committee suggested and where you're at. Is that right? It was 2 originally, and this would be 1.2 more.
That's correct. It was a total of $4 million, but the first 2 with the original presentation, we suggested a total of $2 million this time, but with the application, which would be for $4 million, with the application of the additional Chapter 78, it would be the $3.2 million. That's correct.
Okay, so all right, that helps me. I didn't read it that way. So in other words, if we don't get the additional Chapter 78, then it would actually be a $4 million gap between that. Am I getting that correctly?
That's correct. We have had discussions with the administration on the school side, and they do understand that if we don't get the 760 that we are predicting, although I'm fairly confident since both the House and the Senate did provide the same numbers, the school administration does understand that any difference they would make up. So that has been the discussions.
Thank you. That's helpful. Just a couple of brief points. I always struggle with the fact that, like, where I work is a much more wealthy district, but they handle their finance timeline differently. On the school side and on the town side, we get a projection on September 30th of what we think the town is allocating to the schools the next year. And obviously it changes a little bit, but I knew on October 1st last year that the schools were budgeted to get, they were shooting for a 3% target. I think it ended up at 3.01. I don't really fully understand why we can't do that. Obviously, it's a little bit more complex here because we're so much more dependent on state aid. But when you're talking long-term processes, anything that gets clear is kind. That's not mine. That's a Brene Brown thing. But clear is kind. If the schools and every department knows in November what we're shooting for, they can plan a lot more thoughtfully and they can adjust. And I sure hope we get to that point. That was one of the reasons, to kind of talk to Mr. King's point, and we may have tinkered too much with the budget timeline. It's fair. We'll see whether it works or not. But there's 2 goals in the charter from this perspective. One was about starting the process earlier so that you get done earlier, because from a school side in particular, you're at a competitive disadvantage hiring on June 29th versus May 1st, and that matters to kids. But the other thing was to make sure that people had time to digest information publicly. You have an early budget meeting. Your first meeting, if you follow the charter, should be by January 1st. You could do it in December, or you can plan it, and I would hope it would be a guess at revenue and a guess at guidelines, so you can have those conversations then, so you're not having them on May 13th, and you're not reacting at the last minute. And there's a lot of reasons for this year. I mean, you have new staff, you have a lot of changes. I hope it gets better as it goes along. But I will lastly say, I hear you, Mr. Stefanini, on the point of it's not fiscally sound to have positions in any department that aren't needed. I would, without knowing the Framingham school budget any more than I know because I have a family member who works there, I significantly doubt there's $3.2 million of easy to cut positions. And there's going to be a lot of pain to be had on that side. So thank you very much.